every single year, we do the same thing with Houston. We sit here and we talk about how this team has a chance to win the title and that team has a chance to win the title and this team in the Big 12 is so good and what's going on with Kansas and who's going to end up winning this league and why is this team, suddenly sneaky good? And we're doing a lot of that same stuff this year, right? We're talking about Iowa State. We're talking about West Virginia last night. There's a lot of conversation that we've had about the Kentuckys and the Alabamas and the Auburns and the Illinois of the world, right? Well, Houston is sitting there right now. And I know they didn't have the greatest non-conference schedule. You lose to Auburn, you lose to Alabama, you lose to San Diego, the last two in overtime at the Players Era Festival. But they've reeled off now 10 wins in a row. They're sitting here all alone in first place at 6-0 at the top of the Big 12. And yes, I know it wasn't the prettiest win at UCF yesterday. And they haven't exactly played a murderer's row yet in this conference. Next Saturday, they play at Kansas. I think we're going to learn a lot more about them after the game at Kansas. But, RC, every year we do the same thing. We did it in 2021 when Houston made it to the Final Four and no one thought that they can make a Final Four. We did it in 2022 when they were a 5 seed, despite being number 2 on KenPom, and made it to the Elite 8. We did it in 2023 when they made it to the Sweet 16. And we did it last year when they won the Big 12 in their first season in the Big 12, and they would have made the Final Four. I'm convinced of that if Jamal Shed does not hurt his knee in the second round of the NCAA tournament. So why? Why do we do this, RC? Why do we do this to ourselves? Why can't we just buy into Houston and say, this team is damn good, Kelvin Sampson is damn good?
First of all, we ain't French because we didn't agree with this. If we saying this, I don't know if it's you and Jeff. I don't know who it is. Bonjour. No, probably we want to say no. It ain't no we. It's y'all. It's you and Sweeney with that. I'm a Kelvin Sampson dude. I'm a ride with him. Listen, I think we've always questioned it about them because we knew how good they've been defensively. We were always like, hey, offensively, they're not gonna score enough. They're not gonna make enough run. Can they score enough points to win? Ultimately, when Shed went out, he's the heart and soul. We all thought, and I thought there'd be a drop off because he was so much to their team. I think this team shoots it better. They're still defensively, they're good. This team is better, I think, offensively. And don't be surprised. I thought from the eye test, Iowa State's the best team in the Big 12. Kansas has had its moments. They've been up and down. I think they've been the second best team, in my opinion, and I'm not off Houston. I've never been off Houston because I think their style of play, they're gonna punch you in the mouth. They're gonna junk the game up. They're gonna control tempo. The question is, can they win close games? Can they score enough points? And say what we want about them, they did lose those games early, but their losses are anything to be upset about. They figured things out. They are far better offensively than I thought they were and have been in the past.
Sweeney?
Yeah, look, I would say this. I thought yesterday's result against UCF, like they did not play great by any stretch, but it was important for them to have a game like that. Because as RC
on the road,
said,
get a road win.
Yeah, and they just haven't won close games. Like they had an opportunity late against Auburn, late against Alabama, and late against San Diego State. Like they probably should have won all three of those games, like the way that the game was played. And they couldn't close. And I think part of that is learning life without Shed, right? And they don't have that paint touch guard, right? Because late in games, they don't run a ton of stuff. Like, at least they haven't in the past. It was like, all right, clear out. Let's get 2 feet in the paint for Jamal Shed. He's going to make a play, whether it's him scoring it or him distributing it. And I think with this group, because they don't have that guy, like, how do they operate in those late game situations? And I thought yesterday, like, they were able to go get key baskets from Juwan Roberts. He has emerged as a scoring option down low, and I think they're going to have to rely on that because they don't have that paint touch guard, right? Cryer can go create shots, but he's not the same as Shed was. And Sharp is an elite shooter, right? 46%. But again, not a guy who's you're going to clear out, no ball screen, just like straight to the rim, right? So I thought them getting key late game contributions was valuable. And we'll see more of that in league play, right? At Kansas, at West Virginia, Texas Tech on February 1st on that loaded Saturday, right? Like they're going to get tested here soon. They haven't really so far in league play until Saturday. But get against the best teams. But I have no doubts about this Houston team. They're elite defensively. They're elite on the glass. They're the highest floor program in the sport because no matter what, they're going to do those two things and then get you a pretty long way in college basketball.
At an elite level.
Yeah. I will say, though, I do think that not having, as you put it, Sweeney, the paint touch guard is a pretty big stick that you can kind of beat them with, because the way that they play is kind of like you're built to be in some dogfights, right? You're built to be, you're not really built to go out and put up 90 and beat a team by 30 points, right? You're not really built to run people out of the gym. If you got a squad that's tough enough to be able to hang with some, to be able to hang on the glass and hang offensively and be able to run your stuff against what they do defensively, you're going to be in close games against them. And we saw that with Auburn. We saw that with Alabama. We saw that with San Diego State. We saw that with UCF. And it's nice to see them find a way, RC, to be able to win a game like that. But if you watch that final possession, it wasn't the guard that made it. It was Jawan Roberts making a play. It wasn't LJ Cryer. I think he was 2 for 13. It wasn't Emmanuel Sharp. I think he was 4 for 12 last night. Now, I think that's a valid concern to have about Houston is, do they have somebody at the end of a clock that can make life easy for somebody else? Or is their best offense going to be get something up on the rim and let our big guys go and get it?
Well, first of all, let's not forget, you got a guy in LJ Cryer you can get a ball to and just say, hey, go get me a bucket, like a score at the end of the game. So I think they have more than what we're giving credit for, because offensively, what they're not going to do, they're not going to turn it over, and they're not going to beat themselves. So defensively, they're going to control the tempo and pace. So no matter if it's Alabama, no matter who it is, you're going to play the game at Houston's pace. They're going to drag you to the deep end of the water. They're going to see if you can swim. Now, if you can score them and make the game at a pace that they can't keep up with, then you got a chance. But you're going to find out a lot about yourselves when you play, Houston. So I think they'll take care of the basketball. They'll get right. They'll get the good shots. They don't have Jamal shit in the games. We talked about that. I think they are starting to figure that out. But the ball moves also. And I think everybody else gets involved when you don't have to rely on that one guy taking you home. So there are some benefits from it. Coach Sampson gets to run plays now to get his score, to get Emmanuel Sharp a 3 if he needs or something like that. So they're able to attack matchups. They'll probably go with they're obviously going to go with the hot hand of the day. And but I still think they got a guy in LJ Crowder. They can say, hey, if we need to ISO somebody, run a ball screen, pick out matchup, he's that guy.
Yeah. Yeah, you might be right. I don't think I've ever heard somebody say they'll drag you out to the deep end of the water and see if you can swim.
There you go.
Yeah, I like
good.
that. I might steal that line.
Florida State's like that. Those are teams where I say, forget your game plan. All that motions crap you bringing in. We're running 5 guys. This is what we do. Houston is going to blitz ball screens, recover. It's teams like that. So you can figure out the play. You got to hoop. You got to roll the ball out to the park. You got to go hoop.